You're watching Your Worst Friend, Going Deeper, Season 5. Today's guest, adult film star Sara St. Clair. Here's your hosts, Matt and Shane.
You're watching Your Worst Friend, Going Deeper, Season 5. I'm Matt, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Shane.
Hello.
Go to yourworstfriend.com to see all of our other interviews and follow us on social media at Worst Friendcast. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we're joined by a very special guest. You might know her from such cinematic masterpieces as I Came Inside My Sister 5 and Wives Desperate for Dick 6. She's an AVN nominee, and as we'll talk about coming up, she's now a published author. You can find her on Twitter and OnlyFans at Sara St. Clair XXX and on Instagram at SillySarah91. Links to everything are going to be in the episode description, as always. And her new book, Romance Costs Extra, is available now on Amazon, so make sure you go out and pick it up. Ladies and gentlemen, join us in welcoming the stunning, the eloquent, the perfectly crafted Sara St. Clair.
Hello.
Sara, thank you very much for coming on with us today. So,
Thank you for having me on.
we like talking to authors, so it's a real weird balancing act because we have like this gorgeous 10 sitting in front of us that does all kinds of sexy, dirty things that I'm sure people want to hear about. And all I want to know about is like, oh, the book writing process. Let's talk about this. So don't be surprised if it seems like we're intercutting questions for the fans with questions for us here.
I'm all about it.
Okay, cool. If we could start, could you tell us how you initially got into the adult entertainment industry?
I started modeling and stripping, and from there I did fetish videos and stuff. And at that point, I was already naked on the internet, so I said fuck it and went all the way and did porn.
There you go. That makes sense. Did you have an
the next?
now? Because I've heard that before, it's snowball effect and whatever, and even before, prior to OnlyFans. Because now the headlines that come out of OnlyFans, it's like people are thinking, sadly, some of these newer girls like, oh, I'll be on OnlyFans for like 6 weeks and I'll be making $100,000 a month and blah, 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 blah. What was the promise at the time? Was it just a little bit incrementally more money every time when you would snowball, like you said? Was it just another step into fame? Like, did you think, well, if I do porn, it'll help my stripping career, or if I do this, it'll help this? Okay, go.
Yeah, no, well, it's funny because my goal in life is to be a famous writer. So I wanted to get into like the sex business to have all these cool stories to tell the world. So I did porn. So I wanted Sara St. Clair to be a known name. So that way, when I turn into the famous writer that I'm about to be, I already have a name to myself.
That is the best way to do it. Establish a fan base first, and then you can go.
Yeah, so it was never really about like the whole like money aspect. It's more just like honestly the notoriety, the having the name, the fan base.
Sure, that makes sense. I used to, back in high school when Facebook was big, I would befriend porn stars on Facebook, and I had this one guy at my job go like, this is, look, I understand this is corny, but this was when Facebook was cool. And I thought I had brilliant ideas. I knew someday I would have some sort of website or media project or something else going on. And at the time on Facebook, all these porn stars had 4,000, 5,000 followers or whatever it was. So this guy at my job was like, I see what you do. You follow all them porn stars. And I'm like, yeah. Because it's a great wall to be able to post on and be like, hey, check this out. So I've always had these ideas of kind of like, you know, path of least resistance to getting out there and getting exposed. You seem like you went the more difficult way, which is, you know, on your back surrounded by dudes. What kind of anxiety? Did you have any kind of anxiety jumping into it the first time? No, go ahead. Sorry.
No. So weirdly enough, my only anxiety was, so I was always like the really shy, nerdy girl at school. Like I sat by myself at lunch. So the most anxiety that I have doing porn is, I don't know, just like going on set, not really knowing anybody because I don't live in LA. So I'm not out there with people like being in like, you know, like the whole like friend group, whatever. So my anxiety is when I show up on set, I'm just like standing there by myself and everyone already knows everybody.
Shane, you got any questions?
Yeah, so you said that you jumped into porn, you know, like as a springboard for the notoriety, but also to have like a bunch of cool stories to write about. So are all these stories, are they like intended to be for like an autobiography? Is that the purpose to have them, or is it to inspire tons of fiction projects? Like, oh, this was a crazy thing that happened, I could write a whole book about it.
Yeah, so Romance Class Extra, it started out as an autobiography, but obviously I had to like change names, locations, like, so I've been telling people that although it's meant to be an autobiography, it's more based on a true story, like real fiction, if that makes sense.
So it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like some parts are like real, but like there's some stuff. Yes. Yes.
Exactly. No, that's like my all-time favorite movie.
Oh. Okay.
I'm obsessed with horror, Halloween. That's my whole sleeve.
Yeah, we're doing our Halloween specials now. We're recording with different people. So let's ask, do you like the original Texas Chainsaw, or did you like the Jessica Biel one?
Oh, original, for sure.
Original's fine, but we also said, right, Shane, during our interview we did the other day with a movie expert, it's a good remake. That Jessica Biel one's not a bad one.
For a remake, it's very good.
Yes.
Most remakes are let down.
Yes, for sure. All right. So the book writing process. Now, nothing seems more tedious to me as a guy behind a microphone than sitting down and writing a book. I know I did my research into you. You went to college for journalism, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Ooh, okay.
I started writing when I was like 12.
You know, I had always been the type that came up with ideas, and then when it actually came to writing, it seems, like I said, kind of tedious. Like, oh, I got to fill this in. I got to fill this in. Can't I just tell you in 5 minutes what the whole story is? So how do you, and I read the first chapter of your book today. Very hot story to kick it off with. But how do you jump into writing about these stories? Like, are you just being, oh God, I sound like a Neanderthal saying this. Are you just trying to be as descriptive as you can? Because you actually wrote it very well. Like, it wasn't just like a cool line by line account of like, I went to this party, blew this guy, and blah, blah, blah. And,
it wasn't like a Bret Easton Ellis.
I wanted the reader to like immerse themselves and feel like they were there. Sucking all the dicks themselves.
Okay. Well, I was actually putting myself in a different role in that position, but yeah, no, I could do that. I could see myself at least on my knees once. So, so when you were younger, you were writing, was it always fiction? Were you like taking things in your life and blowing them up and making them, into full blown stories? Or what is your favorite kind of thing to write? Like, if I could just put a contract down today and go 5-book deal, whatever Sara St. Clair wants to do, what kind of books would you write?
Right now, I would definitely keep on doing the whole like erotica, because that's been my life for the last 15 years almost. But to start it all off with, like, I loved poetry and like short stories, like everyday type things. But yeah, I've been in the porn business for so long now that I feel like all my stories are just about dicks.
Shane too, which is, so it's a lot of fun. All he does is talk about dicks all the time, dicks and cum and everything else.
That's why we started the show. Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to talk about dicks and cum and stuff. Shane, you are a reader. Shane reads a lot more than me, by a long stretch. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I listen to books sometimes. That's the other question. Wait,
I cannot.
You can't do that.
I can't.
Oh, no, like, not even digital books either. Like, I need like the paper in hand, like turning the page.
Yeah. I'll say this. Nothing's better than the smell of a new book.
Oh,
right.
It's my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah. Shane.
Yes.
What do you got for an author here?
Well, yeah, I was just listening to all the stuff she was saying there about so writing short fiction and poetry and stuff like that. If the book becomes a success, like what is your next project? Like Matt said, like, contract put out there. If you're gonna write another erotica, is it gonna be? Are you gonna dive further down the fiction route? I mean, because you said that. Or are you going to continue this as a series? Like, what have you got planned as far as writing?
Yeah, so I actually at the end of Romance Costs Extra. Like, it's not a cliffhanger because I do tie up like all the loose ends, but it's definitely open to go on to book number.
Okay.
That's the plan. Ideally, I like to have it as a trilogy.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Good things come in threes, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Or
so-
5, 6, 7, 8 if you like the kind of porn I enjoy.
So with the audio, with the audio that I know that you don't prefer it, but since it's an erotic book, you're an erotic writer. Are you going to do the voice for the digital or the audio version?
Yes, eventually. My co-writer really wanted me to have the Audible done by the time we released the book on Amazon. But fun story, I grew up with a really, really, really bad stutter. So the idea of like sitting down and like recording my voice, like reading my book just sounds overwhelming. But it is on the to-do list, hopefully the next few months.
You know what you do? I haven't seen this yet. I would record it and not put it up on Amazon. Can you put it on like your OnlyFans or something like that as an additional
You have
purchase?
audio messages, yeah.
No, so I actually wanted to do that, and I ran it by a few people, and everyone's like, "No, people on your OnlyFans aren't there to listen to you read a book."
You know what?
But that's actually what I had, though.
Yeah. You know what though? I mean, I would say that about something like a JOI, and yet there's millions of dollars being pumped into OnlyFans every day for JOI videos. It's like, no, I need to see the tits.
Or a cock and ball torture. You know, who wants their dick all smashed up? But people pay for it.
Yeah. I don't know. That might be interesting. It's a fun little marketing angle. So we've interviewed a lot of girls nowadays, and it seems like the biggest thing is marketing. And you've done a great job of marketing yourself, but when did you really pick up steam? Was there a specific scene you did or something like that when you noticed like jumps in followers, or was it just constant grinding? Was it a slow, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 new followers, 15 new followers? Okay.
Yeah, no, it's been a slow build up, but yeah, like every time I release a new mainstream scene, there's more. But like I said, I don't live in LA, so I really only shoot big scenes like once or twice a year.
Really? Oh, that's because
that's why I've been in the industry since 2016, but like my credit list is about that big.
Oh, yeah, I did notice that. But you have tons of content out there. So we'll jump back in the book stuff for a second. I gotta keep the fans turned on somewhat. So do you mostly shoot OnlyFans content then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. And what sets your OnlyFans apart? Well, it has Sara St. Clair, obviously, but how often are you updating? What kind of stuff is actually on there? And by the way, if you folks want to check out her OnlyFans, don't forget it's Sara St. Clair XXX.
Yes.
Yeah.
So mine is like, I know a lot of girls have like the really fancy lighting, like really fancy videos. Mine is amateur, like a lot of pro-am, like stuff that I shoot at home on my phone, like, having fun in real life. So my OnlyFans is real life Sara.
I prefer that. I
Me
totally
too.
respect.
When I'm watching porn, I like it has to be like pro-am, like a husband and wife clearly shot this in their bedroom, just being kinky one night. Like that's what I need to get off, because otherwise I'm like, I know that dick, I know that couch, I have those panties. It's distracting.
We interviewed Catherine Knight the other day, and she was an awesome interview to talk to. And what was fun about her, though, is she's the total opposite. It seems like she's all like high production. It's like, if we don't have a $10,000 lighting rig, I ain't taking my top off, which is great. People love that, and it's obviously successful. Me, I need to hear like unlicensed Metallica in the background at a glory hole, terrible lighting. That's just what I like personally.
Yeah, it's real. I like that.
And that's what's great. There's a world, for anybody, any kind of fetish, any kind of whatever in porn. There's always something, All right. So can you tell us let's compare and contrast. Do you have in this book, because again, I haven't gotten a chance to finish it. I will check it out. Make sure you check out as well. Romance Costs Extra, available on Amazon now. Do you tell like your wildest real life sex story in there, or is that saving it for the trilogy? Okay. What was that and what happened? All right. Okay. I see you're reluctant. Here's the thing. Maybe not your wildest one. How about you tell us your third wildest one? Here's the thing.
So
Everyone's going to buy your book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say wildest one, but probably most like, so like as far as like wildest sex scene, no, that's not in there. But like the wildest scenario of said sex scene is my favorite. I met this guy a while ago and we started hooking up, whatever. And this would be, I don't know, I'd always come over in the morning when his wife went to work. And then one day he'd be like, so I want to have a threesome, but you can't tell her that I hired you like an escort. Just say that we met on like Adult Friend Finder looking for like a threesome. I'm like, okay, whatever. So have threesomes with him and his wife and don't hear from him for a while. Turns out he went to prison for some white collar shit. Like, so never saw them. She actually divorced his ass while he was in jail.
I thought it was going to take a twist. I thought you were going to still show up the next day after he went to prison and you go to the wife. You're like, let's go at it. Come on. I'll keep you good. You're my boo for the next 5 years.
So fast forward about 8 years later, I start hooking up with this dude and I meet him through a mutual friend. So mutual friend and I are talking and I'm like, yeah, like Brett's wife, he talks about her all the time. And our mutual friend starts telling me about her. I'm like, wait, was she married to so-and-so and used to live in X city? And he's like, yes. This woman who I had threesomes with her husband is now married to another client.
Oh.
But he hasn't asked to set up a threesome yet, has he?
Oh, I always send her on. I'm like, you should bring your wife over someday. She would like it. And he doesn't know that she used to be wild. He's like, I don't know if she'd be into that. She's kind of shy and on the reserve side. And I'm thinking, sir, I'm your wife in the ass with the strap on. But I can't tell him that though.
Well, you could, but I mean,
you certainly could. Yeah.
It would be too weird for him to know that.
All right.
Look at you keeping secrets. Wow.
Yeah. You do. All right.
I would have wrote an anonymous letter.
I would have wrote a book about it. Here's my question, and this is not meant to criticize whatsoever. I'm just asking from a level of stupidity and ignorance. All right. Is there a companion escort code in terms of privacy? And does your book, I don't think it does, but maybe, does your book kind of break that code a little bit?
No, because and that's why I had to stop calling it an autobiography because so much was changed in it to protect names and everything.
Sure. So is that the code then? Is it like, hey, you're paying partially for your time and then partially for I'm not going to say nothing? For
me to shut the fuck up, yeah.
So what do you think of girls who do come out and say stuff? I know I've read you're a big sports fan. I don't know if I know you like the Saints, right? This was an old interview I read. Okay. So same town. How do you feel about Zion Williamson and the OnlyFans performer he was with coming out and spilling the beans on everything?
That chick lost her damn mind. Like all of us were like scrolling through Facebook, like, what is this girl doing? Like she's breaking every code. Like, yeah, not a good look.
So there is I don't mean this in a derogatory way. Like a bro code, there's like a hoe code too, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
All right, that's fun.
So, without naming any names or divulging anything, do you have like a client list, like an A tier, B tier? Do you have like certain clients? I mean, obviously you're going to prioritize because of their spending habits or whatever, but do you have any that are like VIPs, you know?
Maybe like a handful that are like my like favorites, like I would consider like real life friends. So.
And do any of them, you know, like we were just talking about this, that woman, what's that guy's name? Zion
Williamson. Yeah.
Zion Williamson. Do you have any that are like, you know, draft picks or?
Yeah. What round of the NFL draft are your guys coming from generally?
The last.
She gets a lot of kickers and punters swinging by.
Yes.
Now, to be honest, though, and again, you don't have to divulge names. We've gotten some fun names off. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, like on that topic though, like I don't know, like I don't think I would want like those like super big name type people though, just because it seems so stressful. Like they could have like their pick of whatever, so you have to perform like extra good. Like I don't know, I'd rather just take Bob from HR, who's just excited to hang out with me.
You know what though? I've seen you. You're a hell of a performer, and I think if you want to go up that next level, I think you can do it. I think you can grab at least a second round pick in the NBA draft. Maybe a lottery guy down the line for sure.
That's a pretty big compliment.
Sure. Now, the question is, going back to the porn side real quick. How do I say this nicely? Are you a size queen? Could you take some of these lottery picks? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think the biggest guy you've ever been with is, size-wise?
Dread.
Oh, okay. Everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I don't think it gets bigger than that.
Yeah. You put dread into Twitter. Now, I always wonder, though, is that a burden being a gentleman like that, with a kickstand dick?
No,
I don't know.
It's not.
No,
I don't think so. I mean, it's like what girl's gonna break up with a guy because his dick's too big? Like she's not gonna be able to live that down because there's gonna be one friend in the friend group who's definitely got a husband whose dick doesn't even work. And it's like,
you've been talking to my wife, okay?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. She could never live it down.
Mm-hmm.
If she sent dread packing, she could find another reason, blame it on that. But no one would admit to not wanting to have a 18-inch. Oh, okay.
I disagree.
Thank you.
So,
I do too. Go
elaborate.
ahead, Sarah. Tell them why we agree on this one.
So, yeah, like I'm a size queen, and like if we're just like fucking around for like a night or two, yeah, please, like destroy me. But if we're dating, I do not want that every night. Like boyfriend dick is like 7-8 inches, like big, solid. But anything over that one's like big. You don't want that every night. At that point, you're just gonna be torn. It's gonna hurt.
Well, he doesn't have to put the whole thing in, does he? Like, what if it's like a 13?
But
and
that's
you're
where
like,
it goes to me, where I say, is that a burden for him? Because then,
no, dude.
you're not going down to the hilt every time.
Well, you don't need to, man. When you jack off, do you use the whole
full
fucking
strokes into my pubis? Yeah,
really?
yeah.
That sounds painful. I just concentrate on the tip, man. I just kind of like squeeze it and knead it like a roll of pizza dough.
I like squeezing it real hard until it turns purple, and then I flick it the top real hard
till it explodes like a volcano. Yeah.
yeah. But I agree with Sarah, kind of. I don't know, like we all would want a chick who's like, a real nympho and like, oh, I want to fuck all the time, blah blah blah. But for a girlfriend, sometimes it's like, oh, we got to do dinner with my mother, and she's like, well, but just let me blow you 4 times before we go there. I feel the same way. If I was a chick, it would be great to have a guy who just, sends you to the frozen food aisle to tape something to yourself. But at the end of the day, like, do I want that all the time? Especially with a guy with a dick that big, you have to have a killer sex drive. So he's going to want it all the time. And then you're beat up all the time. And you're doing that cool thing they do in porn where you put it up against your forearm and you're like, out.
You get battered wives syndrome.
Yeah. Back to the book real quick. How did you, the book, of course, obviously, Romance Costs Extra, available now on Amazon by Miss Sara St. Clair. How did you sort through and determine which ones to put in this, what to save for the next one? Like if you have 20 stories in this, how many of those are A pluses and how many did you throw in a couple C pluses with like fun, entertaining stuff? And then what are you going to carry over? Because I always think of musical artists when their big first hit album has all the hits on it. And you're like, oh, they've been saving that all their life for that. And then the second album stinks because they're writing about being on private jets. So how do you reconcile that in terms of what to put and what not to put?
So book 1, obviously mainly about hooking. And I have it set up so at the end of Romance Costs Extra, Sorry, my dog's getting into God knows what. So the end is set up where I'm packing up and I'm going to LA to start doing porn. So then book 2 is mainly going to be about porn and like hooking things that I met through doing porn. And yeah.
All right. So you have your arc already designed now, but then what's book 3? Is that written? Is that like Godfather 3? Do you write that 40 years from now when you retire?
Yes, actually, I wanted book number 3 to be about retirement.
Wow.
Okay. Settling down.
All right. That's interesting. Okay. So how far are you from retirement? And please don't say anywhere near soon.
No,
good.
No, I actually took a 8-month hiatus this year because I was trying to do the whole trophy girlfriend thing, and I'm back sucking it now.
Okay, so what was the trophy girlfriend thing? Now, did you take a hiatus from everything or just shooting porn? Mm-hmm. Wow. So did you intend on that only being 8 months, a year, or did it fizzle out, unfortunately?
Boys lie.
Yeah, we do that.
Once a cheater, always a cheater.
Yeah, we do that.
Yes,
I didn't make the rule.
Oh, I know. It's just like one of those universal laws, like gravity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the thing about changing, like your whole lifestyle, like you're shooting on your own, you're doing scenes, and then to change it all for a person, like what was that like? Were you working at McDonald's, or like what did you do for those 8 months?
So I was doing just OnlyFans, like all the solo stuff and everything. And
so he wasn't like a complete square.
I met him via work, so he was kind of just taking care of me.
Got it. Okay, I see. I was thinking more along the lines. It was one of these. We talked to several people who have, told us that they've tried to give it up for a relationship, all porn, and it's like some sort of morality thing, and it's like it never works. It's like if you're changing yourself for your partner right at the beginning.
No, like I got so bored too, because like I've been doing this since I was 18 years old in some way, shape, or form. So like, I don't know, trying to like give it up. It's like I was giving up like a whole part of who I am as a person at this point.
Yeah, definitely.
So was it for love, or was it just that you would be taken care of?
Both.
Okay. How many zeros do I need in my bank account to wife up Sara St. Clair? I guess it's more also a balancing act of how many inches I would need in my pants, and I don't qualify with that. So how many more zeros?
7, 8.
Yeah. Yeah. I told you I don't qualify in that. So where are we getting up to? What is a lifestyle where you are comfortable stepping away from porn? Is this just a job for you? Obviously you said you were bored, but we've talked to a lot of pros, and we talked to a lot of new girls. We do a whole Jesus Christ, that shot. My goodness. We talked to a lot of new girls who are like gung ho, like, oh my God, I just want this. I want a dick. I want money, blah, blah, blah. And then we talked to girls who've been in the industry for a long time who seem like maybe they've had their fill of dick and they're just like, hey man, whatever takes me in next level. Let me ask you, what does it take for someone to come into your life and sweep you off the feet to the point where you're like, I don't really want to do porn anymore? Does it have to be good looking guy, money, and a good enough sex drive where you're not like craving it elsewhere?
That's actually a question that I've been asking myself lately, because coming out of this relationship, it's like, okay, so what do I really, really want? So honestly, I don't think there's anybody except for one person who can get me to stop doing this at this point.
Really? Who's that? Do we know them?
Zion Williamson.
Zion Williamson.
The main character in my book.
Oh, okay. Aren't you the main character in your book? Like I said, I only saw
my main love interest.
Okay, fair enough. And
client that Sarah falls for because she's the dumbass.
Now, okay, but you recognize that maybe it's not a good situation for you. But then why? Why does it draw you back in? Is that just what love is?
Yes, and probably something that you want so bad, but you can't have it.
Okay. All right. Now, going back to what we were joking about before, how I want to start asking all of the girls this, Shane, because I find it so interesting. How many athletes are currently in your DMs? Any at all, do you think?
At the moment, there's a rock star and a DJ in my DMs.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I always pick
DJ.
athletes because it generally represents the kind of porn I like. So, you know.
No, the athlete thing, it goes through cycles.
Really? What are the cycles on that?
A lot of it is like, I'm being extra cleat chaser. I'll be like, Saints, ads, fucking
whoever.
Alvin,
Yeah.
Sixers. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So like I'll like at all of them, and then eventually one is going to see it and slide in the DMs.
Okay, that's fair enough. Do you have any other ambitions for any other types of books in the future? Like, do you ever want to write, I don't know, a sci-fi book or a mystery or whatever?
No.
That shit seems boring, right? Doesn't that shit kind of seem boring? Like you're writing a story. Oh, this guy got. I just want to be like, this guy got stabbed. Bunch of people questioned it. Then it was the butler, and you're like, there you go. 1 page is my book right there, and the butler killed him.
No, so I definitely see myself always writing some form of erotica. But one project that I've had in my brain for a very, very long time is, and I need to take like a good creative writing course to be able to do this. But I want to write a book about all the pets that live in a whorehouse. Like a madam runs the place and there's a bunch of prostitutes that live there. And they all have like their little animals. There's Pierre the parrot pimp. He yells at everybody. Greek clocks.
Like a children's book.
Exactly. But like a slutty children's book. You have the cat who just gives like really aggressive side eye to every John that walks through the door. And then you have all the little rat friends who talk shit like, oh, there's that guy who wants to be tied up. Fucking weirdo.
Oh my God. Can I tell you how much I couldn't keep my dick hard if I walked in and there was a cat and a parrot and a bunch of rats running around?
Yeah.
I'd be like, yo, this chick needs to do some kind of tongue swirl because my dick ain't going to work with this zoo looking at me. Okay.
Can we go to my car, actually? Yeah.
Yeah. It would be funny if she went completely nuts, though, if we were talking about like, do you have any other ambitions? And Sarah was like, well, okay, you guys know Scientology, right? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, 28 book idea I have here, and it's about a different kind of alien creature. And we're like, oh boy, okay, go on. Go on.
The Dianetics, we got Trianetics.
Yeah. And then she's sitting here and she's too hot for us to be like, oh, this sounds crazy. Just so you know. It's funny you said that. There is a market, I feel like, for adult children's books. You had that Sam Jackson one a few years ago, Go the Fuck to Sleep. My friend Vicky actually wrote a my friend Vicky wrote a book called B is for Blumpkin, and it's in ABC's. It's good, right? It's a funny idea. It's a picture book, but it's all just
crazy shit.
N was for necrophilia, and
that one was funny.
Yeah, they were all good. So has this always been your personality? Like, you're all in on erotica now, and you said you were shy growing up, but what was your sexual 180 in life? Where was it you were shy girl, and did that factor into your, I don't want to say sexual revolution, because that sounds like I'm talking
awakening.
About like the awakening is, yeah, that sounds corny too, but I agree with you. Was there something where you went from like, what was the movie? She's All That, where you went from kind of like, nerdy shy girl, and then you turn around and it's like, wow, Sarah's fucking sexy.
Yeah, when did you take your glasses off?
No, so I guess my thing was, once I realized that sex would be lucrative, make money, get myself places, I was like, okay, we can probably do this. And even like when I first started like stripping and stuff, I was still kind of shy girl. But then eventually, I don't know. Like, I wish I could give you a story of some monumental moment, but at some point I just said, fuck it, and stopped caring.
Well, it's like social media. It was gradual for you then, huh? It was just, And was there anxiety at each new plateau at all? Or were you just like, well, I've come this far, keep climbing?
Yeah, like because like it was like baby step, baby step, baby step. So it was never like this like, whoa, I'm scared moment, because it's like, okay, like I'm like I started doing nude modeling, then I was doing tied up modeling, then I was doing tied up on video. So like it's only just like a little bit different each time.
Sure. Yeah, but then you go from if you look at a timeline in shorter increments, yes, it seems like that. But if I were to look at the timeline of you on a larger increment, it would go, she did nude modeling, and then jump ahead, 7-guy gangbang over here. What's the most anxiety you ever had going into a scene? Let me ask that. Was it something like
Texas Bukkake scene?
Let me tell you.
That was 10 dudes. 10.
Let me tell you, I have a wife. She's gorgeous. I get laid. It's no problem. But I am somewhat of a pornography connoisseur. Texas Bukkake is the site that we got probably our best friend off of this show. She's an OnlyFans performer. She doesn't want to go mainstream, but she shot 4 scenes with Texas Bukkake.
Cool.
Cat Karma Orgasmic. Love her to death. Those to me are actually prime example of what I was talking about before, where you have like Family Guy playing in the background and you're like, oh, I don't think Foxxx licensed that out to these guys.
Yes.
So it feels more real. And that.
Oh, yeah, no. And that was the most low end thing ever, too. Like I flew into Dallas and it was 10 dudes in one hotel room. It was a Hyatt place.
Yeah, and they don't exactly bust out the suites for you. It looked like,
and let me tell you, when there's 10 people in a small hotel room, and you look at them like, oh wow, this room's packed. You're like, whoa, I'm gonna fuck all of these people. Oh my god, that was an anxious moment. That was what I get myself into. I think I bit off more than I could chew. I'm totally fucking intended.
But no, you did it though. I mean, you came out the other end. So does that give you confidence then? Like, I was going to say, I would think the more intimidating scene, and this is totally positive stereotypes, but you shot with the unfortunately named dogfart.com. And that scene looked intense to me because, yeah, your Texas Bukkake was more guys, I believe. But I mean, size comparison between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one where it felt like I was like, oh, she's really having a good time in this gangbang. And there was one where I was like, oh, she's sitting on frozen peas on the way home.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Like halfway through that scene, I'm like, how the fuck am I going to keep doing this? I am hurting. My butthole cannot take any more big black dick inside it. I'm going to cry. But the scene was only half done. And I don't know. I like to say I can do anything for an hour. Like, the most crazy shit ever. It's only an hour. I can do it. So that's kind of like the mentality of, okay, we're already halfway done. Just, you can do it.
That Texas,
kind of like,
oh, go ahead. Sorry, Shane.
It's like getting on a roller coaster, right? Like you're all amped up, and then like you once you're strapped in, like the anxiety can build and build. Yeah, like it can build up as much as you want it. Like let it go as high as it can possibly go while you're going up that hill, but you can't get off, and like you're just along for the ride. You kind of just don't have a choice but to get through it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's like we've been on set all day. Like we just got to push through the end of the scene and we get to go home.
So that'd be funny. The idea of you rallying cry the team, like guys are dehydrated, they're tired, their dicks are a little limp. Like, gentlemen, we need a real Any Given Sunday speech. We need to get these dicks up. We need to finish this scene. The lighting is set. We will go down in history. Oh, man, I loved Texas Bukkake. And then they got like sold to like a foreign thing. And it went from like kind of no names or names you would know. Sometimes a Sara St. Clair would pop up on there or Trinity St. Clair. They only got St. Clair's, apparently. Great family line. And
strong.
And then it went from that to like they got bought out, I think, by like an overseas company. So it was like Olga and Helga get gangbanged, and you're like, oh, it's not the same. It's not that dingy little Texas hotel room.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'd like to see more of that in porn. Now that you just mentioned that, the St. Clairs, like, I'd like to see more team ups, like with the.
Similarly named.
Yeah.
People,
like how drag queens have like houses, like the house of the Donda or whatever, and it's like all the queens from that line, that house will have the same last name. Yeah, why we should do that with porn.
So it's a damn good idea. I think you're on something.
They've had how many different TV shows? I think X Hamster had one for a while where it was like a reality show type
Porn
of
House.
thing.
Yeah. That shit's cool.
Rogers tried to do one. It was
Yeah. You know what though? There's potential for me to like that, and they never nail it for me for some reason.
You know who does it right is the Europeans. The Europeans shoot that shit properly. I don't understand most of the stuff they're saying because they don't usually upload subtitles. But yeah, the European like porn game shows rule, where it's like they'll have like some dude and he'll like have like 4 naked women in front of him, and then he'll like rate their naked bodies, but they're always really respectful in Europe how they do it, and he'll like pick the one based on her nude appearance that he wants to date, and then he has to get naked, and then she'll be like, well, you know what, I would have.
Dick sucks. Yeah.
Sometimes it happens, it rules.
Yeah,
love it.
That's interesting. I don't know. I like we talked about a few times already. I like that. Not dingy, not degrading, but just kind of like, this guy bought the most expensive equipment he could afford and is now shooting it kind of like half cocked in a hotel room. I just love that. Yeah. That is good stuff. Yes. That is good. I'll tell you,
check out my porn, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Your wife. Oh, I thought you were plugging your wife for a second there.
Well, I mean, I can, but I'm saying like, if that's what you like, that's what my shit looks like. It's bad.
Okay, I don't.
Yeah. Mine too. I feel that.
But you know what? Your fans are all about it. And let me ask, you only shoot like 2 major scenes a year, you say, or with major companies. We've talked to a lot of professional girls who it seems like that's not the amount of time, but that's the thing. You're seen at Brazzers, you're seen at Team Skeet, whatever it is. That's an advertisement for your OnlyFans. Is that how you treat that?
Because every time that they promote that on Twitter, Instagram, whatever, they're going to have my little handle, and then the fans are going to see my handle, click on it, and then boom, that's what I follow for Sara. That's another OnlyFans subscription.
Yeah, there you go. We play a little game on this show, and I want to run it by you here. It's called SAC, and this originally started when we interviewed Sara Jay. And Sara Jay has been offered tens of thousands of dollars for her first anal scene, and she just won't do it. It's not what she's into. She doesn't like it. She doesn't like the idea of it. I don't know if she doesn't like her brand being represented that way or if she just doesn't like it in general. So we play a game called SAC, and what that stands for is Shit, Animals, and Kids, SAK. Because we got the idea to start asking, is there anything... And then the inverse of this question as well. Is there anything that you wouldn't do on camera, regardless of the amount of money that has been put forth? And then the opposite is there any type of genre or scene or anything like that, or a performer you want to work with where your normal rate is here and you're willing to take a little bit of a discount because you just love doing this type of thing so much? So the reason we call it SAC is
because don't say shit, animal, or kids.
A lot of the first girls we would interview, I would go, so what is something you wouldn't do? And they're like, well, I wouldn't like fuck a kid. And we'd be like, yeah, we know. Yeah, yeah, you got to get off the Zoom if you would, be like, well, I'd fuck a kid for 10 grand. So what is something you're just absolutely like, that's not my type of thing? Either I don't want my brand represented that way, I don't want to do that, where even if they hit you with a high enough dollar amount, you're still just kind of like, nah, not my thing.
Well, I grew up really fucking poor, so anything can be bought for the right price.
Oh boy, that sounds like an endorsement for shit, animals, and kids.
No. Now I need to tap my 401k though for a loan. No price too high. All right, and then what is the opposite? So, is there any type of scene, any genre of scene, a bukkake, a gangbang, solo with one specific performer? What is something where is the number set for you in your normal rates, and they go, we only have enough production budget for this here, and you'd still be like, yeah, I'll do that. I like that kind of thing.
Good question. I have yet to shoot for kink, so like or like any type of site like that. So yeah, I would shoot for next to nothing if I'm going to be like tied up, have the shit beat out of me, like not crazy.
Not next to nothing kink. Just so you know, you still have to pay this girl. Okay, she is a performer. She'll take a discount for you. That's
like $2.
We
pay her in merch.
Yeah. Here's a kink shirt for you and some soap. They have really weird merch. Here's a stuffed animal. What? Why do they have this?
Yeah. Here's a gift card to Cracker Barrel.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's interesting. So what do we have on the horizon? Have you set any goals for yourself, porn wise, and then also writing wise? Well, let's do porn first. Have you set any goals for yourself where you're like, I want to shoot this type of scene? Or is there anything you haven't done yet besides kink.com or any of those? Is there anything you haven't done yet? Or have you set a future date for a kink or a bondage scene or something like that where you go, I need this by then because that's my next goal that I'm working towards?
Unfortunately, I'm a lazy human. I am not a goal.
You wrote a book. You're not lazy. You could pretend to be lazy. You wrote a book. Like you're better than 98% of Americans.
Honestly, like my main goal is just to get back in the swing of like porn again and like start shooting more regularly. And I don't know, maybe take my OnlyFans a little bit more seriously and just, I don't know, like get back to being an active performer because honestly, I've been out of it for a hot minute. So I'm actually going to Vegas next month or this month rather, for 3 scenes. And I'm going to try to shoot some like professional level content while I'm out there and, just get the ball moving, get back to being like a porn star again.
There you go. That's what you are. Shane, do you want to hit Sara with your question that you?
Oh yeah, we
ask?
hadn't even touched on that, and it didn't come up. How do you feel about piss?
Oh, I love golden showers.
Yay! Good answer.
Yes.
Shane's a big fan. All right, Shane, do you have any other questions? I'm sorry, I dominated most of this.
Oh no, I like to. I got to ask a lot of good book questions. Who's your favorite author?
Oh, Ernest Hemingway, by far.
Really?
He's a cynical drunk, and I love that.
Yeah. I've only read Farewell to Arms, and I didn't understand a lot of the words.
That's fair.
Ladies and gentlemen, we had on with us today Sara St. Clair. Make sure you go to her Twitter and her OnlyFans at Sara St. Clair XXX. Remember, links to everything is going to be in the episode description, and go pay for it. We always advocate pay for your porn. These are performers, they're workers. Do it. Don't be a dick. Maybe even swing by the Amazon wish list because you're going to be on Amazon when you're purchasing her new book, Romance Costs Extra by Sara St. Clair. It was wonderful talking to you today. Really loved having you, Sara. Is there anything else, Shane?
No, I'm glad that she answered like a notable author, but like who's your favorite lesser known author? Who's somebody weird you like that nobody would know you like to read? Don't say Sylvia Plath.
But that was literally the first thing that popped in my head. I'm sorry. I was like, don't say it. All right. I know everything I need to know.
that sounded judgmental and mean. Sara, you've been wonderful to talk today. Thank you very much for coming on with us.
Thank you so much.
For your worst friend, Going Deeper, I'm Matt.
I'm Shane.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.